for better days to come and carry us like wind in our sails. Hold on tight, I can smell the shore, it's right in front of us if we just hold on tight. This vision that I saw is getting closer every dawn. We are dreamers of the shore. 7 years now on this boat, and we all know where we belong. Just wait. For our home to show on the horizon, soon we'll be there. Hold on tight, I can smell the shore, it's right in front of us if we just hold on tight. This vision that I saw is getting closer every dawn. We are dreamers of the shore when we can't reach.
Hello everybody, and you're very welcome to episode 30 of the Fraochknits podcast. My name is Áine and I'm coming to you from the west of Ireland, County Mayo, and on a beautiful July summer's day. So we're almost at the end of the summer, or at the end of July rather, halfway through the summer. And it's just been lovely here. We've had mixed weather, but some really nice weather too. And so my name is, as I said, is Áine, and the name of this podcast, Fraochknits, comes from the Irish word for heather, which is Fraoch in Irish. And I live on the side of a mountain, right beside the holy mountain Fraoch in County Mayo. And there's heather. There's a lot of heather around, and I just think it's the most beautiful colour and really represents how I feel about the place. So I wanted to use that name for my podcast. So that's where the name comes from, if you're wondering about that. You're all very welcome here, both returning and new viewers, and thanks to everyone who subscribed after the last video. I'm really delighted to welcome new people to the community. We have a great comment section here, and leave a comment if you feel like asking any questions or making any suggestions. It's really great to hear from you all. I love your comments, and I try and get back to everybody. Maybe not all at the same time, but I do usually get back to everybody who's commented. So you're really welcome. I'm delighted to be sitting down here on a Sunday afternoon and finally getting around to making this podcast. Sometimes I think I'm about 5 weeks since the last time I made one and issued one, and it just sometimes seems a little bit difficult when it goes after the 4 weeks. I find it harder and harder to get to sit down and do it. There seems to be a resistance that builds up the longer you leave it. And also I sometimes, with summertime, is so busy with so many things going on, and we're away a lot, doing various things, going on holidays, or going on a scout camp next week. So there's a lot happening. And the weekend time becomes really precious, because weekdays as well I'm trying to do my ordinary work. So when it comes to dedicating a day to doing a podcast, I sometimes balk at it, even though I really love doing them, and I love the interaction that I have with all of you people out there, you lovely people who watch the podcast and like it and comment and subscribe and all that sort of thing. The lovely community that we've built up. It's such a lovely thing for me to have, and I hope you enjoy it too. But anyway, I was just saying that it's sometimes more difficult to get back into it after you've left it for a long time. But then today I really had the urge to do some crafting, some sewing particularly, and I fought with that urge, and I said no, I'd make a podcast. And by sitting down, so it takes me a couple of hours to prepare what I'm going to show you, and by sitting down and doing that, it's a real stock take of what I've done over the last 5 weeks. And if I didn't do it, I'd still feel like I hadn't really done very much, or I hadn't made any progress. But when you sit down and really look at it, you realise what you've done and where you've come to in your sort of in your creative life. And so it's really lovely to be able to share all of that with you, and it's a really good thing that I make myself, and you make me sit down and actually produce a podcast. So all of that aside, anyway, all of that is just by way of introduction. And today we're going to be looking at, as usual, my progress on works in progress and finished objects and plans for the future. And I will be looking at both knitting and sewing. And actually today I have a good bit of sewing to do, because knitting has really taken a back seat for the summer. I'm feeling this whole thing of really wanting to sew during the summertime. And I'm getting more and more into my sewing and getting a little bit more confident, and I'm finding that I can squeeze it in the evenings in the summertime. Whereas in the winter I feel like sitting by the fire knitting. I don't have that same urge to sit in a cosy space in the summertime. It's nice to sit in a bright room and sit at the sewing machine until it gets dark at 11 o'clock. So that's pretty much what I've been doing mostly. So yeah, that's what I'll be talking about, and I'll be doing a little bit at the end, the Irish cultural section. I'll be looking at this week, or this podcast, I'm going to just look at the mythology surrounding the festival of Lughnasa. So Lughnasa is coming up very soon. It's very topical. It's the festival that happens at the very end of July. The 31st of July is the 1st of August rather. It's the eve of the 1st of August is Lughnasa. And there are traditions that happen all over the country, but one of them is the climbing of Fraoch, or what's known locally as the Reek. It's Reek Sunday. So with that being a topic of interest, I thought I'd take another little look at it. I'd looked at it before, but I think it'd be nice to recap over that and just look at some of the traditions that are associated with it and where it all came from. So so if you want to stick around, that's at the very end of the video. If you don't want to listen to that, that's no problem. There's plenty of content on knitting and sewing. The other thing I'm going to look at today is a paid promotion that I was asked to do a collaboration with Babylon Leather. They make kits for sewing bags, leather bags. So we'll be looking at that, and that'll come a little bit later. Okay. So so I just wanted to start out with my finished objects. We'll have a look actually at my notebook and see where I'm going here. It'll take me a bit of time to get into this. Anyway, I hope you're all doing well and you're enjoying your knitting and your sewing over the summer. It's been, as I said, a busy one for us here, and I have actually been a bit distracted by the collaboration that I mentioned. So I've spent most of my time actually trying to finish that, and it was a bigger project than I anticipated, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So I've very little knitting to show you, but what I will do is show you the progress that I've made on this beautiful cardigan, which is the Hood on the Moon cardigan. When you last saw this in the last podcast 5 weeks ago, I think I had just split for the sleeves. So I've done another little bit beyond that. There's shaping in this cardigan, and it is I've just finished the decreasing of the shaping on the waist, and I'm knitting now to 9 inches below the armhole is where I had to start to increase again. I think I'm at about 8 inches last night. I think I did a few rows, and I hope tonight I will be at the point where I can start increasing again. So this is a really gorgeous, very, very slow project, but it's got this beautiful detail on the sleeve, on the shoulder that runs all the way down the length of the long sleeves. Ribbing, it's a 3x1 ribbing, I think. And it has buttonholes. So as you're knitting, you're actually making the button band. So you've got to remember every 27th row to do yarn over for a buttonhole. And that is on the other side. And they're literally, the button band is very simple. It's a ribbed button band. But that's just something that you've got to keep an eye on as you're going along, that you're counting your rows. And other than that, then it's just counting the length. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous pattern. It's by Katrin Schneider, and I'm making it with a fingering weight yarn, Pearl Sew Hose Linen Quill, Fresh Pickle. So that's that. There's very little else to show you. I really am loving the idea of having another cardigan. I finished a Felix pullover last time I showed it to you, and I really wanted, that's one of my future plans, is to do a cardigan. My sister knit a Felix cardigan there recently from Letlopi, and it really is beautiful. It's a very different project. It looks very different, which is funny because it's pretty much the same thing, just with an opening down the front, but it does look so different and so lovely. So that is my first work in progress. I don't have any finished objects for knitting. And the other work in progress, I've actually made a lot of progress on this one actually since I last spoke to you. And this is the Simple Striped Sweater by Suvi Knits, and I am really delighted with how this is turning out. It's the raglan, the way this sits on me is just exactly like a sweatshirt. It's so, it fits really, really well. It's a simple raglan sleeve and stocking stitch the whole way, and there's no shaping on the body of it, and there's short rows on the back at the neck, and then the lovely details on this come at the, so I've reached the I've actually bound off the hem of this, and as you can see it's a fold over hem. You do a row of purl stitches and you fold over the hem rather than doing a what's it called, a ribbed hem. You fold it over, and so it just looks like a piece of fabric that's actually hemmed. I can't remember the way of, I can't remember whether you sewed closed. I have to look at that again. I can't remember how it ends up being attached, but anyway, the reason I decided to bind this off, I can't remember, this is one of these projects that I have sort of left. It's been in, it's a sort of a long-standing, well not that long-standing, but languishing in a sense, because I couldn't decide what to do with the bottom of it, whether it was too long. And this is also made of mostly like, it's fingering weight, but it's superwash yarn, most of it, and I know that grows in length when you block it, and I'm just thinking that it's down now probably to just below my hip bones, and I think it needs to probably be a bit shorter, and I couldn't decide what to do, so I think I may take it back a few stripes. And the other reason it's been languishing is because I've run out of this grey yarn. I think I told you about this the last time. It's the Pasquale Pinta, and I think it's silver is the colour. It's 121. I finally found the colour online, and I was actually about to buy a skein or two of it, and I put that in my in the cart, and shopping cart on the website. I can't remember which website it was now, and I decided at the last minute to hold off, because I thought maybe there's so little that I need of it, maybe I can use a different yarn that I have. And looking at it again today, the only bits that I need are, I need a stripe, one more stripe in the sleeves, so I've stopped just where the grey stripe begins, and I need a stripe, I was going to replace this green section at the top with the grey as well. I started out with green and then decided not to use it. One of you lovely viewers actually commented on the last video to say that I should keep the green, that it looks great, but I actually, it's sort of bothering me. I think I really want to change it, and then I had an idea just this morning when I pulled this out again, and it's really amazing when you've left something for a month or a few weeks and you go back and look at it, you have a completely different view of it. It's amazing when you're working on something, like we get so close to what we're working on that we obsess over the smallest little things, and actually when you pick it out and you go, oh my god, I can't believe I actually knit this, and I can't believe I knit it to such an I thought there was a lot more left to do in it. Like, it's almost finished, this sweater, and it's a great one for the summer. It's lightweight, it's very bright, and the colours are really summery colours. And anyway, so when I went back to it, I just thought to myself this morning, I thought it's actually easier just to finish it with yarn that I have at home, and not to worry about the difference in. So I have a grey yarn which is slightly brighter in tone than this one here, and I'm actually just going to use it. I mean, really, it's literally just going to be, it's going to be here on the sleeves, and that led me to think I might not use it for the neck because it does look quite different, and I might instead just use blue, the light blue colour, so that it would be slightly out of sequence, but it would be, you know, there wouldn't be a problem with it. Or I could even use the darker blue colour. Any of those colours would work absolutely fine, and nobody would be any the wiser, and they would just, it would just dwell, it would just gel, dwell, I don't know where I'm getting that word, it would gel a lot better. And yeah, so that's my beautiful simple striped sweater by Suvi Knits, and I highly recommend the pattern. It's a really simple pattern, but the shape is perfect on me. I have to say, this is one of these things, one of these projects where I really feel happy with how it sits on my body, which doesn't always happen. As many of you knitters will probably identify with that feeling that sometimes you get to the end of a project and you look at it and it may not just be what you were expecting. But this one seems to have worked out really, really well. And I'm really looking forward to actually putting a little bit of time into it and just finishing it. And in terms of how I'm going to do this top section, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut the neck off, and I'm going to re-knit casting on from the top, and when I get to this point here I'm going to do a 3-needle bind off, as in I'm going to join the two pieces with a 3-needle bind off. So I think it's easier than working back. I'd have to work backwards in terms of the short rows. I think I've done that before, but it's a little bit confusing. I don't know if I have the headspace for that at the moment. It might be easier just to cut it off and work that way. So there you go, there's the two works in progress. One a long way off being finished, and the second one almost finished. And that is literally the extent of the knitting I've done. So it's very, it's a lot of knitting, it's a lot of knitting time, but I haven't been working on a lot of different projects. And one of the things I'm thinking about doing for my future knitting plans for the rest of the summer is to finish off any projects that I'm working on at the moment. I think I sort of need a complete reset with my knitting. I need to just finish sort of any languishing whips. I have a pressed flowers shawl which needs to be finished. It's almost there. I think I'm just on I'm on the bind off practically of that project, and I couldn't decide what to do with that, and I think I was lacking in some yarn, but I think I have everything now. That needs to be finished, and I need to finish off the pairs of the socks that I started last autumn. I have 2 pairs I think that need a second sock to be knit, and I have these 2 projects here. I think that's everything. So it's not a lot, but I really just feel I want to just clear the decks and start afresh then in the autumn. The next thing is sewing, to talk to you about sewing, and I have worked on a collaboration with Babylon Leather, as I was telling you, and I just wanted to talk to you about that. And it's been a really interesting process actually. So I've never really done a collaboration before. But I was really impressed by these bags. They're leather bags that Babylon Leather makes these kits for you, and you get absolutely everything in the kit, and I'll show you the bag that I made. So I've been working mostly on this, and when I look at it, actually it's an awful lot of work in it. It's taken hours to do. It's a fairly big project. So this is the one that I've done. This is my Babylon Leather Le Pliage travel bag, I think it's called, large Le Pliage travel bag, and it is all that's all sort of hand sewn by me, which is absolutely amazing. I never thought I'd make anything like this. I've never made a bag before. It's really given me loads of inspiration to make my own bags. But Babylon Leather anyway have given I'll talk to you about the project in a second, but just to let you know that there's actually a discount code. They've given me a promotion code. I'm an affiliate with them now, and I'm just going to give that to you straight away. It is Fraochknits 10, and I'll put that up on the screen here. And with that, if you put that in, you can get a 10% discount, but you can add that to the existing 20% discount on their website. So just a few things about the about their project kits, or they're DIY kits. So they are really, really easy to do. A beginner can do them. I certainly have never done any leather sewing before, so it's all hand sewn leather, but they give you a whole kit contains all of the pre-cut pieces, and all of the pieces have the holes punched in, the leather holes that you sew through. And each kit comes with a tutorial, a video tutorial, so there's no reading instructions, which are harder for me to follow anyway than a video. It's very, very clear, really, really well done videos. And they use top grain cowhide leather and full grain cowhide leather. Not sure what that terminology actually means, but they're leather kits, and they include absolutely everything you're going to need, all the hardware, all the straps, the thread, the toolkit, and any accessories that come with the bag as well. So all of these are included. And this is the my almost finished bag. I haven't quite completely finished it. I wanted to leave a bit to show you how the whole thing works. So this is the inside of the bag, which I still have to finish sewing to the, let's see it there, if I hold it up to you. That is the last row of holes that I have to sew in the bag, and to sew the inside to the outside. Now the inside is actually already made up, so I didn't have to do any of this sewing here, or I didn't have to sew that zip on there. So a lot of the work, in a sense, with the bag inner was already done. The outer bag though is all in pieces, and this, as you can see, there's mostly there's some leather in this particular bag, a good bit of leather, but most of it is this gorgeous green canvas, which I really love the idea of when I saw the photographs. I love the colour, this beautiful sort of olive green colour, and deep green, and it is really, really attractive. And I'm just going to pull out the bits that are left to put the bag together. So there's the shoulder strap is still left to do, and there are these little pieces. So that's what the pieces look like when they come. They're all flat, and they have all the holes already punched in. So these will be folded over, and the strap, I think, goes through that somehow. It goes through the hardware actually. So the hardware comes in a bag. I'll show you this. You get absolutely everything you need, all the tools. There's a little screwdriver that comes with it as well. There's this hardware here, which is, these are for attaching the shoulder strap to the bag mainly. I think that's what they're for. And then I'll show you the thread that comes with it as well. And there's a little screwdriver. That's the thread, which is a really thick, a strong nylon thread actually, and there's plenty of it. There's a little bit left over there. Just put that back in as well. You get a little screwdriver. That's for screwing in the little feet on the bottom of the bag. And you also get a, just line this up, you get a little charm with the bag. That's going on now, sorry. Just going to have to do that later. You get a charm with the bag, which is so cute. Look at this gorgeous little horse. Isn't that absolutely adorable? So this was already made up, so I didn't have to make this. This was included as a free gift with the bag. And that can be just put on the side of the bag. I think this is absolutely the cutest thing I've ever seen. And you can also, they have these lovely little ties that you can tie these onto the handles if you want to add a little bit of decoration to your bag when it's finished. You know, this type of thing. And these came in a couple of different colours. So the closer is actually a magnetic snip, which works really well, and that's obviously all going to be finished, so that's why that's not sitting. And that's the little, you get a little sort of a decoration. These are really cute, you know. I think that all of these things, and you can do the same with the little horse. You can put him on the side of the bag as well. And so I just think this whole kit is really, really good. It's a fairly, I won't say it's cheap now, it's not a cheap kit, it's an expensive enough kit, but with the discounts that are available, it's actually pretty good value, to be honest with you, for the amount of, you know, you have literally, you don't have to buy anything. You can make the whole bag without going out and buying another thing. And I know that with with sewing that you might have your fabric and your thread, and then to buy buttons and any hardware that goes with, say a bag particularly, or whatever, zips, all these things, the costs really start to mount up. And I'm always amazed that, sometimes for a sewing project it's really expensive because of these little add-ons that shouldn't cost a lot of money but end up adding up to a lot. So I will say that it might seem like pricey enough, but this one is one of the more expensive ones because it's a bigger one. I got the biggest bag available because I really am not hugely into small bags. I'm not a bag person. I have one bag which I've had for about 10 years. I tend to just use the one bag and keep it for ages, and I really need to replace that one now, but as in a handbag. This is more like a travel bag, so, and the reason I chose it as well is because it fits my laptop. My laptop fits in here, so it's really practical. So it could come with you on a Ryanair flight. I didn't check the measurements. Ryanair have recently changed their measurements for your carry-on bag, but I think it's probably small enough to actually fit those measurements. So that is my bag. I'll just give you a look inside there. I don't know if you can see the inside of the bag. It's gorgeous fabric. Everything is really, really good quality. It's really, really lovely. And it looks smart. Like, I'd be very proud to be carting this bag around on my holidays. Wherever, whenever. But just for travelling around, travelling on a flight or whatever. It's a really, really nice bag. Fits everything. You could fit like overnight kit there, and you could have your laptop and a book and your wallet, whatever else you need in there. So I can highly recommend, and as I said, you can use the discount code. I'll put up that link, and actually it's in the description below. There's a direct link to the discount, so if you want to click on it's the first line in the description if you want to click on that. And yes, that's pretty much taken up a huge amount of my time. Oh yeah, I was going to tell you that I put in a little bit of footage, did I say that already, of me unboxing the bag, and to just give you an idea of what it looks like when it comes in the box. It's flat packed, all the pieces are just there, cut out. And I'm also going to put in a tiny bit of video as well showing you me working on the bag, and to prove that I actually did sew it, because it looks like, to me sometimes I look at that and think that I actually do that. It's a very good kit because it is simple work, and yet it creates a really, really good look, and the video is very easy to follow. So that's pretty much that for the promotion, and I'm now going to show you my finished objects in sewing. And I'm also very proud of these. I'm very happy with my sewing at the moment. I'm really enjoying it. So I made this top here. It's a blouse or a shirt, and it's called the Ellesworth, and it is Merchant and Mills, and it's got a half placket and a collar. A shirt collar, a proper shirt collar with the collar stand, and it has you can see that there is no sleeve connection. This is all cut in one piece, so it's not a raglan or a set-in sleeve, so that makes it quite sort of straightforward. Actually, it's just one big long piece, and then it has this lovely sleeve detail here, a shirt detail, the usual, and a cuff with a button. And then at the hem it has a split hem, so you can see there's a split hem. It's longer at the back than at the front, and it has this lovely wide hem at the bottom on both front and back of the shirt. So it is it looks fantastic. I have to say, it's described as boxy, oversized, incredibly comfortable fit on the Merchant and Mills website. So yeah, I'm really thrilled with this. I was wearing it yesterday, felt brilliant in it, and the only tiny regret, so it was for me a really challenging project. It took me a week to make this, and I'd say I spent 5 to 6 hours every evening. So how many, that's 6 by 5, it's probably about 30, maybe even more, 35 hours of work. And I had the challenges for me. I'd never done a collar before. The placket I always find difficult, so I'm only getting used to that, and it's not perfect. I still have issues down here which aren't too visible, but it's really tricky. And then also actually making the collar was really hard, and I couldn't understand their written instructions, so I had to look up a tutorial video. But sure, there are so many of those online now. It's brilliant. You can really find anything very quickly to show you how to make, you know, any piece of garment. And I made a slight mistake here where the lining didn't actually get sewn in. I was top stitching from this side and wasn't aware of what was happening on the other side. I wasn't keeping everything tucked in. So that's another little learning curve there when you're top stitching, to keep tucking in the lining at the back, because everything is enclosed. All of that should be enclosed inside the collar stand, and some of it got escaped while I was sewing it. Is there anything else that was difficult? These bits here, these what are these called? I forget the word. Binding. The bias binding took a little bit of trial and error to sew on and make. My fabric wasn't very stretchy, so I had to make it longer than the pattern called for actually, so I had to make the bias binding longer. And in general, the fabric that I used is actually a little bit too heavy for this garment, and it's a linen, and they say, I think it's up to 6 ounce linen you can use, and this must be heavier than 6 ounces. I don't know how to know what weight a linen is unless you're in the shop and you ask, and that's the difference. So when you get a ball of yarn, you get a ball band, and it has all the details on it of the weight of the yarn and the fibres in the actual yarn. And whereas with fabric, you buy it off the bolt, and then it comes home with you with no information. So I don't know. Sorry about that noise. That's my speaker. It keeps shutting down. Anyway, the fabric is a heavy linen, and it's a little bit too heavy for this actual shirt. And they say just to be wary of that, because the back of it is longer, so it can pull down. And I haven't noticed it. I wasn't uncomfortable in it, so it's not too really too heavy. But I think it would be also a beautiful shirt if it was in a lighter fabric. And yeah, but this is the linen ramie mix that I used to make the first studio tunic I made. So I'm wearing one of my studio tunics today, which is made from the Irish Waterford linen. I forget the name of it now. It's gone out of my head, but it's Irish linen, which is really lightweight. And the first studio tunic I made was out of this mix of ramie and linen, which is more like it's a heavyweight linen. Anyway, so I'm delighted with that. If I can get a chance, I'll put in some footage of me wearing it, because you can't really get a sense of it until you see it being worn. But I'm really thrilled with that. There was something else I wanted to tell you about it. Oh yeah, just to let you know how much fabric you need to make it. I think it's 2 meters of fabric for size 14 to 18, and I did the 14. So I used 2 meters of this. I actually used less than 2 meters of the fabric. And let's see, what else do I need to tell you about it? It is 3 to 6 ounce linen, or it could be cotton poplin, cotton lawn, cotton double gauze, Indian handlooms, cotton chambray, tencel, hemp cotton. And don't use anything too heavy, as the back is lower than the front and might pull down. It's called the Ellesworth Shirt. And is there anything else I wanted to say? 2 meters, I did the size 14, which is based on the neck size, because everything else is sort of oversized, so it doesn't really matter too much. And it's a real boxy, loose fit. Looks fabulous on, but the collar size, you just want to get that right. And it's fitted. It's supposed to be a very fitted collar, and when the buttons are done up, it looks stunning. Actually, it looks, if you do up the buttons, it looks like a really dressed up type of garment. Whereas if they're open, it looks more casual. But it's a really lovely shape. And that's it. So just make sure you get the size that fits your neck properly at the collar. That's that first piece of finished object sewing. And my second finished object in sewing is a bucket hat. So this is also a Merchant and Mills pattern, and it is free. So I had this urge to do a project that was small, so I made this bucket hat. So I'll give it a try. I don't know how it's going to look like now and try it on because I don't have a mirror, but and as you can see, there's a little lining. I have this gorgeous flowery lining on it, yeah, I'm really proud of this. It was really fun to make. It took me an evening. I made it. Started Friday evening and I finished it. Almost finished it Friday evening in the one sitting. Really, I almost finished it, and it just had to an hour or two on the Saturday morning as well. So, so this is a reversible hat. So you can turn it the other way around, and again you can just have the lining being the other side. Or you can do it to where there is, there's just, you can have the same colour on both sides of the brim. I decided to make the brim have the lining as well. And yeah, so it is a really cute project, really fast. So those are my two finished projects for sewing. And I just wanted to show you actually the fabric that I used for the lining. So this was bought in Milltown Mabe, a little shop there, a sewing shop, and it is just the most beautiful. It's actually a shirting fabric. It's really, really gorgeous quality, and I didn't know what I was going to make with it. I had no idea. I just loved the look of it, so I got 3 meters of it, so plenty of it there. And I've still got about 1 meter left over of my what's it called, the denim from my dungarees, which is what I made the hat out of, these two fabrics. And I'm thinking I'm going to make a bag out of those two, with the denim as the outer and the flowery fabric as the lining. And I have a couple of bag projects which I might do. I'll just give you, there's 2 of them that I'm really interested in, and one of them is by Merchant and Mills, and it is called the Factotum bag, and the other one is by BF Patterns, and it's called the Mia Messenger bag. And both of those, I put up little photographs of those, and either of those could be made with these fabrics. And again, they're quick projects. I'm really looking forward to actually doing a few quick sewing projects, really getting into that, and having a few accessories like the bag and hat, and who knows, yeah, I think I'm going to end up making both of those bags because they both look really, really good. And I'm going to be making the other thing I want to make. These are all future projects for sewing. Is I'm going to use this beautiful linen fabric which I bought in Vibes and Scribes in Cork when I was down there recently visiting my brother. And this is a gorgeous linen. It's 100% linen. There isn't that much choice in linen actually in Vibes and Scribes. They have a few different patterns, and this one was the nicest one that I could see, and it's really lightweight, and so it's going to be perfect for the Jenna shirt, is what I'm going to make with this fabric, which is a classic shirt pattern by Closet Core. So I'm really looking forward to making a really gorgeous summery shirt. Hopefully I might even have that made and ready to go for my holidays as well in Italy. And if I can find the time, I think having made one shirt, I think I maybe could do a second one a little bit quicker, hopefully, now that I know how to make a collar, and the rest of it is fairly straightforward. Collar and cuffs and placket, it'll be a full placket on this shirt, so hopefully I'll have time to do that. And I just wanted to say there's one last sewing project which is a work in progress, and this is one, it is the swing top. So this is the very first shirt that I ever made. I made a toile out of it. I think I might have shown it to you before. It's by Merchant and Mills. It's called a swing top, and it is very simple. It doesn't have a full collar. I think it's a granite collar on it, and it has a half placket, and I can't remember what the sleeves are like, but this is a project that I actually abandoned. Now I'm making it out of really it's a very light gauze. I have no idea whether this is appropriate fabric or not for this type of garment, but I thought it's going to be very see-through, but I thought I could wear a little camisole underneath it, and again it would be ideal for really hot weather. But the thing about this is I abandoned it because and it just shows you, I was talking to you about this earlier, about when we're in the middle of making a project and we see something we've done and it's just not right, we think at the time, and we often abandon the project because, you know, I certainly did with this, because I thought, oh, I've made a complete mess of the buttonhole spacing, and the spacing is irregular, and I can't believe I did that, and how could I possibly have made that mistake? And there's nothing, I thought to myself, I can't actually find a way of going back, of fixing it, because I'd have to take the whole thing apart, and I don't have enough of this fabric. The gauze is completely, like, I'd have to recut this whole thing here because the gauze is so it frays so easily, and I took it out again there yesterday, and I looked at it and I said, I can't see, like, you can't tell that the buttonholes aren't evenly spaced. They're slightly off. But so I'm thrilled that I'm actually going to go and make this. I'm going to continue making this top, and it's half made, it's all cut out. The button placket is finished and I'm delighted with it. So that's a win, you know. And I just think that sometimes we need to leave our projects and not think about them for a while. This must be over a month or two ago that I was working on this and that I abandoned it. So I'm thrilled now that I've realised that it's perfect. I don't have to take it apart, and that the fact that these are slightly off, nobody's going to see it, only me. So that's just a little lesson for me, from my experience of not leaving it for a while and looking at it again and realising that you can't see the mistake, or at least it's not as big as you thought it was when you were making it the first time. So that's pretty much it for all my projects today. I hope you've enjoyed the knitting and the small amount of knitting and the large amount of sewing, and I'm really looking forward to those projects that I'm going to be doing, the bags and the shirt and the trousers, and hopefully I'll have a whole wardrobe. I think by the end of this summer I am looking forward to having a fairly decent few pieces in my wardrobe that are made by me, and that's really exciting. It's including trousers and shirts and sweaters, and I'm looking forward to moving back into sweater weather then in September. Definitely haven't been making much use of my sweaters. We've had a really warm summer here and some very hot days, and so I haven't been wearing the sweaters. So thanks very much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to stay on now for the little cultural section, the Irish cultural section, you're very welcome to, and if not, then please like and subscribe, and we'll see you again next time, and thank you very much for watching. So in terms of our little section on Irish culture and mythology and folklore, I'm going to take a really quick run through the Festival of Lughnasa and the significance of that. And we're coming up to Lughnasa on the 31st of July, and there is a festival that happens here, or a tradition that happens very local to me. It's the climbing of Fraoch, which is a holy mountain, and it is a tradition that has been going for over 1500 years, and probably a lot longer than that. So it's associated with Christianity. So the 1500 years comes from the fact that St. Patrick would have come to Ireland in the 5th century, and he's associated with the mountain, and he's thought to have fasted for 40 days and 40 nights on top of the mountain. So there's a lot of Christian associations with Fraoch, but actually it's really been a sacred place and a holy mountain for who knows how long before that, going way back in time. And it's absolutely incredible to think that the tradition of celebrating the Celtic calendar day of Lughnasa, which is one of the 4 main festivals we have. You have the Festival of Samhain in the end of October. So the 1st of November is Samhain, which is Halloween, or All Saints' Day, and then you have Imbolc, which happens on the 1st of February, which is also St. Bridget's Day. and then you have Bealtaine, which happens on the 1st of May, May Day, and now this is the 4th one. So this is sort of the end of the year. So the year begins in Samhain, which is end of October. So we're coming to the end of the year, and this festival of Lughnasa actually celebrates the end of the harvest season, the beginning of the harvest and the end of the summer. So it's really, we're moving into the last quarter of the year. It's a celebration of the beginning of the harvest, and it was marked by climbing hills all over the country, and not only the climbing of hills, but which is still a really strong tradition on what they call Reek Sunday. It's known as the Reek Mountain, and everybody climbs it on that day. But there were many other mountains around Ireland that were climbed on the same day, and there were many other places that were visited on at Lughnasa as well, like holy wells were a place of pilgrimage. So this was a pilgrimage day, and so the mountains were climbed, and it's interesting that there were loads of other traditions, not just the climbing, that there was a thing called praying. So the rounding rituals they were called, which was praying while you were walking sunrise around a feature, whether it be a holy well or a church or a cairn of stones on a mountain. And it's something that I actually remember doing, being brought on a pilgrimage to Knock, which is a place where Our Lady is supposed to have appeared, and it's a great place of pilgrimage still. But when we were in primary school, when I was about probably 8 years of age, we were brought there, our class was brought there, and I remember this, and so it only came back to me when I read about rounding rituals. But our teacher at that time was a nun, and she would have brought us walking around the church. So we walked around the church saying the rosary, and I think we had to do it 3 times. This was the church in Knock, so that's what we were doing at the age of 8. I remember it clearly. It's the only time I think I've ever done that rounding ritual, but it's definitely, probably goes back into pagan times. It's not just a Christian thing. But the rounding rituals on Croagh Patrick are 7 times around the cairn, which is also known as Loch Benon, which is Benon's grave, 15 times around the circular perimeter of the summit, and 7 times around Labba Fádric, which is Patrick's bed, and then another 7 times around 3 ancient burial cairns known as Reliquera, which are Mary's cemetery. And also then until about 1970s, it was traditional for the pilgrims to climb the mountain after sunset, and this actually is reflective of the tradition of it being of the day beginning in the dark on the night before, so that we start in the darkness. Just like Samhain is the beginning of the year, we begin in the darkness, and all of our ideas and inspiration begin in the dark and they move into the light. And this is, I think just the memory of this, that our sleep is the most important part of our day, in a way that it sets us up for our inspiration, that we need to be in the dark before we can move into the light. And it's just a reminder of that and isn't it funny as well that tradition disappeared in 1970. So it was the world was changing. I mean, it's around the time I was born actually, that there was a real shift certainly in Ireland as well, of moving away from our traditions, and even just letting that tradition go. It's forgetting something important, I think. That really this is an Eve ritual. It's a Lughnasa Eve thing. It's the beginning of Lughnasa starts on the eve before the actual day itself. So that was just an interesting thing to read as well. And now, of course, everybody climbs it during the daytime. Some start actually at dawn, so they do start in the dark. But on the day then isn't always the 31st either. It'll be the Sunday closest to that because of the Christianization of the whole thing. So it's the last Sunday in July, and I live very close to the mountain, and I actually have to avoid travelling along the road near to the mountain, which gets me into the town of Westport. I don't travel on that road during that day because it is really, really busy. So it's just, hundreds, maybe even thousands of people turn up to walk up the mountain, and they do it in their bare feet, as well as a sign of penance. Not everybody, of course, very few people nowadays, but you'll see people climbing in ordinary clothes, like in ordinary shoes, and especially older men in their suits, countrymen, and would be climbing in their suits, and often not very fit, but it is a pilgrimage and it's a penance, and it's just an amazing sight actually to behold. So just to go back then to the reason for where did the tradition come from in terms of the folklore, or at least how it was celebrated. So it wasn't just the climbing of mountains that was done on the Feast of Lughnasa. It was also a time of feasting and performing all sorts of rituals, and there were games, and the most famous of these were the Talton games. If I can find where I've put this in my notes. So the Talton games were like a form of like the Olympic Games essentially, and there was all sorts of things went on, racing and competitions for strength, and there were also other things that happened at the time, like lawmaking and contract making, and there's also stories of there having been the tradition of the they call it experimental marriages or trial marriages. So trial marriages were a thing that were part of Irish society in medieval times. Just looking for a book here that I wanted to show you. This is not the same topic. This is Irish Fairy Forts by Joe Kerrigan. Hi again, everyone. I am just coming back to you again. I got cut off there talking to you about the Reek Sunday and Lughnasa and climbing of mountains at Lughnasa. So just to continue on with the stories that I was telling you. So this Eve of Lughnasa, the pilgrimage to Croagh Patrick particularly, has been held for at least 1500 years. So that's going back to the time of St. Patrick, but before that it would have been who knows how long before that, possibly a few thousand years before that even, as a pagan festival. So really all the pagan festivals were adopted by Christianity and became Christian pilgrimages and festivals. And it was originally obviously associated with Lughnasa, and the earliest mention of it is from the year 1113. So that's the 12th century, when the Annals of Ulster record that a ball of fire came on the night of the Feast of St. Patrick on Cruachan Agla, which is Croagh Patrick, and destroyed 30 of those fasting. So there must have been a huge bolt of lightning and a big that killed 30 people who were on the top of the mountain fasting for the Feast of Lughnasa. So that's an incredible record. That's actually a written record of people going to the place that is just outside my window here. It's amazing, like so long ago in the 12th century, and that's a tradition that spans back for possibly thousands of years. Today most of the pilgrims climb from the north at Morriscabby, and originally they came from the east along the Tógar Pádraig, which is a pilgrim path from Ballintubber Abbey. And in fact, the footage at the very beginning of my podcasts, which was taken 3 years ago when I started doing podcasts. It's my 3rd anniversary actually as well. I've been podcasting for 3 years now, and it was in July that I started. And I was doing the Tógar Pádraig at the time, and I took that footage. And so that's actually, it's not the Tógar itself actually, it's the Croagh Patrick Heritage Trail, which is another trail which sort of weaves in and out with the Tógar Pádraig, and they both basically go from Ballintubber Abbey to the Reek. So it's fitting that I mentioned that now, that's where that footage is actually from. And this route is dotted with prehistoric monuments. The Tógar may originally have been the main route to the mountain as well, from another place called Cruachan, which is the seat of the kings of Connacht. Rathcruachan or Rathcruachan means the fort of Cruachan. It's located in Tulsk in County Roscommon, and it's the traditional capital of the Connacht, who were the prehistoric and early rulers of the Western territory. So the name of this province that I live in is Connacht. So that came from the name of the rulers of the prehistoric area, which and they were called the Connacht. And their place of their main location was Tulsk in Rathcroghan, which is an amazing place to visit if you get a chance to go there. It's an archaeological landscape with many references found in medieval manuscripts to this place. It's one of 6 royal sites in Ireland with monuments from the Neolithic, Bronze Age and Iron Ages. So that's in County Roscommon. So the other thing about the festival is that it is based, Lughnasa comes from the name Lu, which is the name of one of our ancient Celtic or Irish gods. And in the Middle Ages it involved great gatherings, including ceremonies, athletic contests, horse racing, feasting, matchmaking and trading. In Irish mythology, Lughnasa is said to have been founded by the god Lu as a funeral feast and athletic competition. So it was there were funeral games to commemorate the death of the earth goddess. So that's really interesting because it's also considered to be the end of the summer. So it's the end of that abundance. And a story about Lughnasa says that the festival was founded by Lu in honour of his foster mother, Talton. And she was said to have died of exhaustion after clearing the plains of Ireland for agriculture. It's also thought to be, as I said, a mourning wake for the end of summer. The Éanach Talton, or the Talton Games, were held each Lughnasa in a place called Talton in County Meath. It's named after Taltu, the foster mother of Lu. And these were like the Olympic Games and included athletics, sporting contests, horse racing, music, storytelling and poetry, reading, trading, settling legal disputes, proclaiming laws, drawing up contracts. And at Talton, young couples entered into trial marriages by joining hands through a hole in a wooden door. So this is a thing. During that time, Ireland was the set of laws that we had were called the Brehon laws, and they were really, I mean, when we look at them now, they actually look like really forward-thinking, very liberal laws, and they allowed couples to actually marry for a trial for a year. And if it didn't work out, then they could just split up and there'd be no consequences, there'd be no problem with that at all. And so it is just amazing that it just sort of makes an awful lot of sense that, when you get married sometimes, even if you've known the person for a long time, it's very different when you're living together and you're married and day-to-day life, makes things, very real and not so romantic. And this is something that was recognised, that it's not easy and people just may not be suited even energetically towards each other, even though they might have thought they were. So I think it's a really amazing thing that people were allowed to do this, and the trial marriage lasted a year and a day, at which time it could be made permanent or broken without any consequences. So these young couples were, this was the day of the year, Lughnasa was the day that they were allowed to start these trial marriages. And the Talton Games died out after the 9th century, but they were revived at the beginning of the 20th century, and I think they went on until the 1960s. But I don't think they happen anymore. I think they've sort of faded out. So that's really everything there is to say about Lughnasa and about the festival that's coming up very soon. So I hope you enjoyed the podcast. I hope you enjoyed all of the knitting and sewing. And I hope you're enjoying your projects too. And whether it's knitting or sewing, whichever one gives you most joy, or which other product, whatever it's crochet or needlework of any sort. So I hope you enjoy the rest of the summer, and I will be with you again hopefully at the end of August after my trip to Venice, and after really at the end of our current summer, and before children go back to school. So I'm hoping to do a podcast then, and hopefully I'll have some more knitting and some more sewing to show you. So thanks a million for listening. My Ko-fi link is, if you want to buy me coffee, is in the description below. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do so. And leave a comment, please. I love to hear your comments and I love to respond to them. So, yeah, so take care and we'll see you all again soon. Okay, bye for now.
Don't be a stranger in the night. Take a chance for some romance. Don't cover your eyes. Willow trees know you better than anyone else. It's time you let your guard down. For someone like me, I'd say I'm settled and pretty calm. I don't storm in the storm. If not me, then someone like me that knows what to do and how to take care of you. But most of all, that deserves you. The sweetest red cheese I'd ever seen. You stand beside me in every dream. Angel goddess, you cover them all. Say, what can I do to get you to fall? For someone like me, I'd say I'm settled and I'm pretty cold. I don't storm in the storm. If not me, then someone like me that knows what to do and how to take care of you. But most of all, that deserves you. It's most of all that deserves you. It's crucial that he deserves you. That he deserves you. Go with someone like me. I'd say I'm settled and I'm pretty calm. I don't storm in the storm, no. Not me, then someone